right, here we go. Betting Weekly Live here with you on a Wednesday. Mike Carver along with Doug Kezirian as we get you ready for all of tonight's action. We've got some NBA tonight. We've got a couple of hockey games, good slate of college basketball as well. We are going to start looking ahead to all the football this weekend with pro bettor Chris Macero. So a very full Wednesday we are going to have. Doug, good to see you as always. Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday to you. At least I hope it is, because we got to end the best bet schneid for me. They say, you usually it's you don't shave when you're on a roll. I'm not. I'm going to torture myself with the scratching and itching and punish myself for I can only shave when I actually win a best bet. So we're going to keep it going.
Yeah, I had another one of those nights last night where I just, again, and me and you've obviously for months been talking about this. Like it's frustrating when it feels like you hit a bunch of stuff, but the one you picked for the best bet is the one that doesn't hit. And that happened for me with the Ottawa-Vancouver game last night. I was dead under at 2-1. And kind of all the other stuff I liked, especially the college basketball stuff I liked, was a good night. And I picked the wrong one. And it happens. But we press
we had
on.
A good college. We had a really good college hoops card yesterday. Of course, I did the money line parlay with San Jose State. The Spartans got there.
Yes.
Didn't need to do the money line with the stupid prop.
No.
But that's okay. We turned the page.
No, we turn the page and we get ready for tonight. And we, of course, will have the best bets and the daily double here at the end of Betting Weekly Live. But why don't we start things off today? And it is Wednesday. Pro bettor Chris Macero is with us again. Of course, he was with us last week heading into Wild Card Weekend. So we get Chris back with us here today. NFL Divisional Playoffs, College Football National Championship Monday night. Chris, great to see you again. Looking forward to a huge weekend here. And I think we just got to get right into it and start rolling. Saturday, 4:30 East, Bills, Broncos in Denver. Let's roll, baby. What do you got, Chris?
Thanks for having me, Mike. Good to see you, Doug. I like this game a lot. This was the first bet I made for the weekend, NFL-wise. And as you were mentioning, best bets, I would say it's definitely close to my best bet for the weekend. And most people are probably not looking at this game the way I'm looking at it. Everyone's talking about Denver's defense and, can Josh Allen be Superman again, and the coaching advantage maybe for Denver and home field and yada, yada, yada. But I one thing that stood out to me, and I was hoping to get this number, and I was able to find it when I first put it in. I played under in the total in this game. I played it under 47. I know we're down to 46 now. I still like it at 46. Denver's got a great defense all year. I mean, there's been a couple games where they slipped up, but overall, very solid defense. Points per game, 18.3. That's fourth in the NFL. Yards per game, 278. That's second in the NFL. Yards per play, number one at 4.5. Rushing yards, 3.9, third in the league. This team is really good, even against the pass, too. Top two, 6.1 yards per pass. So what does Buffalo like to do? They like to run it. They have a lot of injuries on the wide receiver core. They got to go back to the veteran Brandon Cooks, see if Keon Coleman can stay on the field. He's either suspended or he had a nice game on Saturday, but he's always a toss-up if he's even going to play. They have some injuries. Josh Allen seems to be very banged up as well. So, if they can contain Cook, as we know Buffalo likes to run Cook, he was pretty contained in the Jacksonville game. Jacksonville's number one against the run. Now they're going up against number two against the run. I think that's going to put more in the hands of Josh Allen. I think Josh Allen's going to try to run the ball as much as he can because he doesn't have many big play weapons on the outside. So I think that should be able to contain Buffalo's offense. And on the other side, I don't think Sean Payton wants to get into much of a shootout here. Conservative game plan. The problem is, we all know, we've talked about it all year, Buffalo is terrible against the run, but can they get any of their running backs going? Can Harvey get going? Can McLaughlin get going? They don't have much stats. They don't have any big stats. McLaughlin's average 5.1 yards a carry, but he's only 187 pounds, 5'7". Harvey's more of a goal line type of back. So we'll see how much Payton pushes these guys to get it going on the ground against a weak Buffalo defense. I just think it leads to an under type of game. I know it's going to be decent weather in Denver, but I can see it be a conservative game plan for Payton. A lot of running with Josh Allen, a lot of quarterback runs. I think I'm not a big prop guy, but if you can look to Bo Nix and Allen, maybe over carries, over attempts for each one of them, and over rushing yards as well, I can see a conservative game plan, low-scoring game in Denver on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I'm warming up to it. Unders, Denver went 7-10 to the over, so 10-7 to the under during the regular season, and that Buffalo offense was certainly involved in a lot of rock fights down the stretch, particularly that one home game with the Eagles. We know came down. I'm curious about the side. I really am stunned that this is a pick 'em. I mean, the Jags closed 1.5, 2-point home favorites. That was late steam by the Sharps. We know the Sharps stay on the course. They don't exactly reverse course. So I have a feeling the Sharp money is going to come in on Denver, fading the Bills yet again. And you mentioned Josh Allen banged up. It's another road game. It's the first time in this McDermott, Josh Allen era that they've won a road playoff game. It's not like they dominated. They're so shorthanded at all these positions that you mentioned as well with the injuries. I'm just stunned. I thought this line would be closer to 3. So do you anticipate that between now and kickoff?
Well, what was interesting, and I actually had dinner last night with a Broncos fan and someone else who's high on Buffalo. So those two, I was sitting in the middle. I actually excused myself for 10 minutes as they kind of went back and forth on why each team was going to win. I said to the Bronco fan last week when it was the Jacksonville Buffalo game, I asked him who he wants to play, and he goes, "Well, you're the one making all the bets. Like, who do you like?" And I go, "I'm just staying away from this game because I have no idea. And I honestly have no idea what's going to happen in this game. I can see it being a complete toss-up. I've seen books out there that have Denver favored by 1.5. I've seen Buffalo favored. I've seen pick. Maybe it's a game where you play it both ways on a teaser. You find another dance partner. Because, last week it fell right, 3 points, and there it is. You hit both sides of the tees. I'm just not sure. Obviously, you don't want to go against Josh Allen, but what does he have to work with if they're able to use their top rush defense to stop Cook? Limited resources on the receiver aspect of it. And it's not like Denver has this great offense where they're going to put up a lot of points, even though Buffalo has a lousy, rush defense. And I don't trust McDermott. I know Peyton's probably the coaching advantage. I'm not sure. He does some quirky things as well. I don't know. It's just a really tough game. It's exciting that it's the first game of the day of the weekend because I'm not sure who's going to win, and I'm not even sure who I'm rooting for as a Patriot fan with a lot of Patriot futures. Do I want to have Buffalo and Josh Allen come to Foxborough where we just saw them that great comeback a couple weeks ago, or do I want to go to Denver where the Patriots never seem to win in Denver in the playoffs? So actually, I don't think they've ever won in the playoffs there. So it's it's a quandary for me. I'm not sure on the side, but I do like the under.
Well, Chris, as the resident Bills fan here on Betting Weekly Live, I will say I hope I'm going to Foxborough next week to see you and the Patriots in the AFC Championship game if I can get through Denver here on Saturday. All right, Saturday night, Niners and Seahawks in Seattle. Of course, the Niners' huge win in Philadelphia against the Eagles. Seahawks had the bye. Last time they played was beating this Niner team in that final game of the season to get themselves this 1 seed in home field. 7.5 now for the Seahawks.
Yeah, speaking of quandaries, here's another one I have. I have the Niners at 10-1 for the NFC. I have the Rams at 17-1 from last March for the NFC. I have a very small bet on the Bears at 25-1 for the NFC. And I have nothing on Sam Darnold for the NFC. So I'm not sure how I'm going to play the game. If I was going to lean one way or the other, it would definitely be the Niners and the points. Another person I talked to really loves Seattle. He was part of the movement that got the line from 6.5 to 7.5. I saw some 7s today as well. I kind of lean under. The last game, no one could really – Seattle moved it pretty good, but for as bad as everyone's been making fun of San Fran's defense, they've held the Seahawks and the Eagles in check pretty much the last couple of weeks. I know there's been some drop passes involved and some bad quarterback play involved, but can you really trust Sam Darnold? I'm not sure. I heard a crazy stat that as the number 1 seed, he's the first player on a number 1 seed since they've been keeping track of this stat to lead the league in turnovers. So that's not exactly something you want to go into the playoffs with. Pearsall practiced yesterday. They were saying Fred Warner got cleared to practice, but he's not going to play. Trent Williams plays. The stats are just in such their favor. 56-29 when he plays, 4-13 when he doesn't play. Purdy gets the edge over Donald to me. I would lean to San Fran. I don't have a bet on the game. I'm kind of looking at maybe maybe go teaser in the both games, the early game with Seattle, just to kind of cover my future bets. But I'm just not. There's so many injuries on San Fran. It's tough to pull the trigger on them. But I don't trust Sam Darnold. And I would never lay 7.5 points. Like I said, I've seen some 7s out there. So if you are a Niner backer, I would grab the 7.5 now, as I bet you this line closes at 7.
And we also obviously have the slider there on the app at Bet Rivers. I just, we've been doing this a long time. We've watched football for years. Bet it, obviously. We've seen teams kind of eke out a win on the road in the first round, and then the next round, just especially a situation like this when you're so shorthanded and depleted, and you got the other team just so fresh, especially because the Seahawks finished the regular season back-to-back road games. So that bye week really helpful for Seattle. I just wonder, when you think of live wagering, like what does Seattle have to do where 7.5's not going to be the best number, right? Don't the Niners almost have to be wire to wire within 3 or better?
Well, you make a great point, too. It's just a terrible spot for San Francisco. They have a short week, east to west travel. Now they have to travel again up to Seattle. But I just can't get the Sam Darnold, 4 interception game against the Rams. That's their last loss. They've won 7 in a row. But the last loss, he had 4 interceptions. Last year in the playoffs, a horrific game versus the Rams. Last year for the number 1 seed, a horrific game versus Detroit. So until he proves it to me, I almost don't even want to do any sort of hedge on this guy. But they probably do have the best team, as we'll get to in the next, the later NFC game. I just can't trust the guy. I can't trust him laying 7.5 points. It would be 49ers or pass with all the injuries and the tough travel. I can see your point, Doug. I know you like to be the little bully here when the team is weak and they're in trouble, and the travel and the injuries. You're just going to, jump on top of them and you just, you get a Seattle blowout. I can see that happen. And like I mentioned, a friend of mine that is on that side, he thinks it's going to be a blowout Seattle. I'm just not so sure. I just can't trust, in my heart of hearts, I can't trust Donald.
I think it is going to be a blowout, but it's mostly because of that Seattle defense just collapsing the pocket on Purdy, and then that Niners offense just not really. It's going to be like 20-6 kind of thing. That's how I'm seeing it, at least now. But I haven't played anything.
Don't you think though, sometimes when you have a 7-game win streak, the last thing you want is the bye week? I mean, it wasn't like they were an injured team or anything.
Right. They just had to get the 1 seed because otherwise they would have had 5 straight road games. So that's the thing, because they finished the regular season with 2 road games. So but you're right. Like I wouldn't have cared if they played. I just didn't want them being on the road if I'm a Seattle backer, future bet.
No. I'm not saying they should have not won the.
No, I know. I would have wanted them to be at home last week, but also play last week, right? Like that's the whole thing. Yeah, I agree.
I'm just saying in the aspect of this game, you never know. That week off, crazy things happen when you get the week off. You don't come back the same way.
Yeah, that's very possible for both these teams coming up on Saturday with the week off. Sunday, Texans, Patriots, 3:00 East, first game of the Sunday doubleheader. Of course, the Patriots -3 at home. Total's gone down here, 41 flat now, Chris, for Texans and Patriots.
Yeah, so another situation where I have the futures on the Patriots from way back in October, sitting in a great spot. I don't really want to give too much away because I think the Patriots are going to win. I probably will take a couple outlines on Texans just to cover my positions a little bit. But I'm going back to the well. We talked about it last week. Patriots or whatever it is based on a tie or not or whatnot. First half, 14-2-1 or 13-2-2 in the first half ATS. 17-1 straight up on the money line. Yes, it was a little bit lucky to get the money line win in this against the spread cover last week against the Chargers. But, hey, it came through. It's what they do. They start quick. The Chargers started slow. The Texans didn't look too sharp in the first half on Monday night. Another team with serious travel issues. Late night, Monday night game, hard-hitting game against Pittsburgh. Have to travel back home, then back on the road again. I like the Patriots in the first half, -1.5. Play the money line as well. I really like that side. I also look at the fact that Houston, I'm not saying they're injured, but Nico Collins, he's not going to play most likely. I'm not sure if he's been 100% ruled out yet. Woody Marks was shaken up a little bit. Chubb had to play a lot more than usual. That's probably the most output he's had all season, probably in 2 years. And Stroud, let's just look at this guy. I mean, interceptions, fumbles, drop snaps, happy feet. I've never seen footwork this bad for a guy that's been playing in the playoffs for 3 years. It's his third year. He's in the playoffs last year, had a playoff win. Just a very bizarre performance by him. He seems to be getting worse, not better. He's taunting the Steeler fans on the way out of the game after playing horrendously. I'm going to be on the Patriots, definitely first half. I like him to win the game. I mean, you look at another stat too, just quickly on Stroud. In outdoor games this year, played in 5 outdoor games. He was 107 for 177, only a 60% completion percentage, 8 touchdowns to 4 picks. So maybe there's something with that being outside, not in the comfort of the dome, that I really think the Patriots are going to get the job done. I know everyone's worried about the offensive line holding up against these ferocious pass rush. But just remember, Pittsburgh, their offense is terrible. Aaron Rodgers is immobile. The play calling by Arthur Smith was atrocious. I think the Patriots will have enough offense with Drake May a little bit more mobile, Josh McDaniel, a little bit better play calling to get the job done on Sunday afternoon.
Hey, I think the second halves of each of their first round games was the worst thing for Houston and the best thing for the New England. When you're a relatively young team and stuff like that, the playoffs can sort of sneak up on you in a way where you kind of treat it like the regular season and you're just not ready for the intensity and everything. We've seen teams have a higher seed, be at home, whatnot, even some kind of weird 1 seeds that just weren't ready to play from the opening kick and just don't fully understand it. And I think playing poorly in the first half really is going to be the best thing that happened to the Patriots. On the flip side, the Texans were just crud, and then they get away with it because the Steelers were so bad and the defense made the plays. And I just think it's one of those things where Houston kind of didn't have the right sort of mentality. I think this line should have been 5.5 or 5. Like, I don't get it. I know the Texans have awesome front four, but Nico Collins is out. Their quarterback stinks. They have a limited coach, definitely limited offense. And I think the Patriots sort of exploit bad teams. I think if I'm Vrabel, that game played out perfectly. You got away with it. You didn't really – it was not a clean game. And now I think the young guys, especially Drake May maybe, like they have their attention. And I think they're going to be buttoned up this week in practice and locked in.
Yeah. I was texting with a few friends from back east yesterday, concerned about the front four of the Texans. And I said to them, I go, listen, throughout the last 20 years or even longer, the Patriots do not lose to the Texans and they do not lose to the Chargers. They coincidentally, they might be playing Buffalo or Denver next week, and those are the teams they lose to. So I'm not worried as much about this week. And to your point, Drake May, perfect passer rating in the second half. He was a little jittery at first. Sometimes he's had those first quarter jitters this year. But once he got in the groove, some of those passes in the second half were absolutely perfect. And I think his mobility will be just enough to elude those edge rushers, which obviously are fearsome. But I just feel like, to your point too, the Pittsburgh offensive line just was ill-prepared. And Rodgers, he's just a second too late with his movement and just unable to get out of the pocket and not fast enough to get around the edge. So I think the Drake May mobility and the Josh McDaniel play calling will be the difference. And I agree with you. I think this line should be a little higher. You've seen it creeping up a little juice minus the 3. So I like the Patriots to get the job done.
Final game of the NFL weekend, Sunday night in Chicago for the Rams and the Bears. Still -4 for the Rams. Totals come down a little bit, opened around 50.5, 51, now down to 49. And that's because, Chris, of course, they're talking below 0 wind chill and the snow, and it's going to be really, really cold in Chicago on Sunday night.
Yeah, one of the bets I was talking about after the Rams game on Saturday ended. Actually, excuse me, after the Bears game ended, because that was the matchup. It was going to be Rams. It was going to be Rams Chicago. I turned to the guy behind me who was asking. He's like, "What do you think about that game?" I go, "All you want on the Bears team total over." So I played an alt line at 24.5 plus 138, which is long gone now in the wrong direction. I'm on the bad side of it because I didn't realize, and I had checked the weather, but I didn't realize the polar vortex was coming in. And now it's supposed to be a high of 18, a low of 6, winds at 15 miles an hour with some gusts. But I still feel like And I know this number's dropped. Yeah, 22.5 on the board. I've seen 21.5. I've seen all over the place. But I mean, this Rams defense, as we mentioned last week when we gave out Carolina, leaking some serious oil. The last 5 games, it did not include Arizona. They've given up 31, 27, 38, 34, 31. So they're not stopping anyone. They've given up 31 twice in the last 6 weeks to Carolina, who's has been unable to score against many teams all year. The Rams yards per rush, they're giving up 4.3 yards at 17th in the NFL. They're giving up 327 yards a game passing. That's 16th in the NFL. And their yards per completion on the year was 9.9, which is middle of the pack. But the last 3 weeks, it's 10.8. And last week it was 11.9, which would rank them last in the NFL in yards per completion. So I'm telling you right now, this back end of the Rams defense can be had. I mean, hopefully it's not super, super windy because they played in the cold versus Green Bay and they took off in the second half. We all know how it's going to start. The Rams will probably have the lead. Bears will mount a comeback. I mean, Caleb Williams, everyone's anointing him as like the next top 5 greatest quarterback. He was pretty bad in the first half. Whatever flipped the switch at halftime, I'm not sure, but he was great in the second half. If he could maybe combine that and just, play decent in the first half and save some theatrics for the second half, that'd be great. At 22.5, I still think you can go over even with all these weather conditions, just because the Rams defense is just not that great. So we'll see. I don't really have an opinion on the side, but I think if the Bears can get enough points, they should be able to cover. I missed the 4.5. We're at 3.5 now, or 4. I like them at 4. I would like them at 4. Rams would probably win a field goal game, but I think the Bears are going to score some points, even though the conditions don't always call for it.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. And look, the cold stuff gets a little overblown. Wind, as we always talk about, is what matters. Like, Devontae Adams played most of his career in Green Bay. Puka Nacua spent time in Provo playing for BYU. Kyron Williams went to Notre Dame. Like, these guys have played in the cold. Like, cold is not going to matter to some of these guys on the Rams.
But Stafford, I believe, 1-9 under 40 degrees. Now, I want to know how often he was a favorite. I want to know how often he was a favorite, how often he was a road favorite. I guess, Chris, over the years, when you see a team that just seems to have the horseshoe in every game and make plays, I mean, we're talking recovered onside kicks, you name it. I know I'm amazed that I haven't gone broke once trying to bet against this Bears team. Maybe in some pick'em leagues, I just feel like there's going to be a game of reckoning, and it's finally. I have not even gotten involved in fading the Bears, but I know people just keep pressing, thinking like it's got to stop. How do you read a situation like that? Do you think it's a team of destiny, or do you think winter's coming at some point?
Well, I was on a couple different shows last week, and people were asking for picks on this game, and I go, I don't have a pick on the game. I just don't know. Green Bay, Chicago. I go. What I've seen from Chicago has been voodoo-like stuff, like Tomlin voodoo. 7 games where they've trailed in the last 2 minutes and won. And I just said to myself, they are the luckiest team, but sometimes that luck just goes throughout the whole entire season, and it does not catch up to them until next year. And I just said to myself, I do not want to be involved in this game because I could see it happening. So when TJ Edwards, I'll admit what I did. When TJ Edwards got hurt in the second quarter, and you could see that the ankle was broken, he wasn't coming back in the game, I immediately bet the Green Bay Packers minus 300 live for a very sizable bet. And I'm like, I was feeling all smart. I'm like, I did the right thing. As soon as the second half started, you could already tell I had to get off this bet. And I took the Bears plus 1,000 back. I broke dead even on the game. And you could just see it happening. And I don't know what it is or the confidence that Ben Johnson has in these guys. This team believes they played at the last minute. They do not give up. They don't care what the score is or what the circumstance is. And somehow, yes, a lot of times you need help from a Matt LaFleur moronic decision, throwing it twice when the Bears only have 1 timeout left before the 2-minute warning. You got to get some breaks. But they've been getting the breaks, and I don't want to step in front of it. If anything, it would be Bears or pass, especially those stats that Doug mentioned. I think it's 2-9 and outdoors, and when they play Chicago, they're all in the Bears' favor. Plus, he has that finger injury. He didn't look the same after he hit his hand on that helmet. We'll see what happens when they get there. I hope the weather doesn't play that much of an effect. I think this could be a really exciting game.
No doubt. Should be a lot of fun with Chicago and the Rams Sunday night. All right, one more for you here, Chris. And that, of course, Monday night, college football national championship game, Indiana and Miami. Down in Miami's place at Hard Rock, South Beach, the whole deal. Indiana 8.5 here, 47.5.
Okay, so another quandary for me. I have the big Miami ticket at 100-1. I've been playing some future parlays with Indiana on the money line, headed, going into some other stuff, even taking some Texans alt line +5, +5.5, combining those. So just in case the worst case happens and Miami loses and the Patriots lose, I'll have, I'll get a little kickback and I'll be okay. But when this line got to 9, I know we're at 8.5 at Bet Rivers. You could probably, like Doug said, you can do the slider. If you can get this line at 10 and lay some extra juice, I'm all for it. I think this Miami team has a chance to win the game. But if you can get 10 points, I fully endorse it. Miami, they have 6 or 7 guys on the defense that are going to play in the NFL. As we mentioned it the last couple of times, you got Jacoby Thomas, you got Mo Turry, Messidor, Bain, Keontae Scott, Poyser. Those are all defensive names that are becoming household names. You got experience with Beck. You got Fletcher, who's been just a beast, 22 carries, 133 yards, 6 yards a carry. You got Marion and Tony combined last week, 12 catches, 195 yards, 2 touchdowns. And everyone's talking about this Indiana team, and I'm not going to take anything away from it. I don't really want to get in front of them. But when they played Oregon, one of the things that I wanted to notice about them, and what I wanted to mention about them, very inexperienced. Dante Moore, for all his hype, he's going back to Oregon now. They're talking about he's going to be the number 2 pick in the draft. Good for him going back to school. You're not ready to come to the NFL. A redshirt sophomore. You had no experience in the backfield in that game because both the running backs, Davidson and Billington, were injured. So you're running out freshman running backs. One of their best receivers was a freshman. The junior tight end, the big tight end that declared today. But most of the team was inexperienced. This Miami team is far from that. You have a lot of experience. And you got Cristobal with his 4th year there. They're a veteran team. I just think the pass rush on Miami is going to be able to disrupt a lot of what Indiana's been doing. If you take a look at the sacks for the year, Mendoza's only been sacked 22 times. But since the Penn State game, that's 6 games, he's been sacked 15 times. You're going up against a Miami team that has 47 sacks. I think they're gonna cause problems. That right tackle on Indiana, he was exposed last week a little bit. I think they're gonna have a tough time blocking both Messidor and Bain. And I really think Miami's live to pull the upset here. I'm hoping they do because of my ticket. And I definitely think getting 10 points or 8.5 or 9 or whatever you're comfortable with. You're not supposed to really tease college, but I wouldn't be opposed to taking them up to 14.5. Miami's going to run a slow pace. They're going to run the ball. Their offensive line is about 30 pounds bigger than the Indiana's defensive front. And I think the Miami defensive front matches up well against the Indiana offensive line, which has been a trouble for everyone else. And this is probably, I will say, this is the best team Indiana's played all year. They struggled with Ohio State. They blew the doors off Oregon, but I just felt that was an inexperienced game where they gave them the game away, right away. They handed them 14 points in the first quarter. So I kind of throw that out. I think Miami's going to be in this game the whole way. They're at home, getting that many points. Sign me up for Miami of Florida to win the whole thing and definitely cover the spread.
Chris, tremendous job. Going to be a big weekend, 4 NFL games, and then you got this Miami-Indiana game. And you got a lot going on here, Chris, with these big tickets, with the Patriots. Very big weekend for you. You're nervous.
I'm nervous. I don't know if you got your kids and wife back from Disney World. If not, just leave them down there. It's another exciting weekend, and let's have some fun. Let's hope we're meeting in the AFC Championship game next week.
I hope so, Chris. From your lips to God's ears. Pro bettor Chris Macero here with us on Betting Weekly Live. Great job, Chris, and good luck with all of the plays. All right, Doug. Great stuff there from Chris. He does got a lot going on this weekend. Like, that's a lot of futures.
Yeah. Hedging in other parlays. I mean, it's crazy.
Yes. Texan alt lines over here. He's got other lots of things happening. All right, let's get to tonight's action now.
Good problems to have, though.
Those are good problems to have. We have, let's get that tonight's action. NBA, 7 games. We'll start there on Betting Weekly Live, including the ESPN doubleheader, which the first game is the Cavs in Philly against the Sixers. As I was looking, this just flipped. Cavs -1. I saw Philly -1 earlier. Now Cavs -1, just as I opened my Bet Rivers app. 237 flat the total.
Yeah, that side kind of makes the most sense to me. They just lost on their home court as a double-digit favorite in their last game, and that was really just Utah coming off a 55-point blowout and just being hungrier and all of that. It was a classic spot. We talked about it. What I have, first quarter or something like that, and wire to wire, Jazz take care of business. But this Philly team's having a tough time figuring stuff out with their starters and everything. We're not sure if Embiid's going to play, but they just did a or a 2-game series in Toronto. They split them and they won the second game. So all these guys are doubtful. Paul George, Edgecombe, Embiid. I love Maxey. I think he's fantastic, but I think the Cavs are the right side now that they're getting healthy. I lean Cavs at least. I may get there by tip-off, but not quite yet.
There you go. Cavs, it's just after 7 o'clock East in Philly.
I also think it's a good start. I think first quarter, first half too, Carver.
Okay. First quarter and first half as well. The second game on ESPN tonight, Denver in Dallas against the Mavericks. Mavs right now -2.5, 223.5 is the total there.
Yeah, I mean, it's really unplayable until we figure out who's playing for the Nuggets. They have like 6 guys listed as doubtful. It's a really tough one, but the Mavs obviously in a funk with what's going on with the Anthony Davis news. And, they got some news that maybe after the All-Star break, Kyrie's going to come back. So that's a little bit encouraging. But they got the win in their last game after back-to-back losses. I think Denver is really well coached. I think Jamal Murray's pushing the right buttons. This is all, of course, without Jokic. I like their role players, Watson and just some other guys. But I just don't know who's in or out. We know this Denver team can play well and pull off an upset when they're shorthanded, but it's Denver pass. But I mean, look, it's a guessing game at this point, and there's just other things to do with your money than guess.
That is very true. And of course, the Nuggets last night won in New Orleans, so second night of a back-to-back for them as well. After beating the Pelicans last night, the Mavs -2.5 at home. Elsewhere, Raptors are in Indiana against the Pacers. Raptors, the short road favorite here, -1.5, 221.5 the total.
All right, so I think this is the best bet on the board in the NBA. It's the Raptors. With these types of things, when a team has won a few in a row or lost a few in a row, unless they're like the Thunder and you're betting on them to go 73 or wins or better, like I was, the Pacers aren't going to win every game. They've won 3. 2 of them are nail biters that came down to the wire. They're not really consistent. They're not really that good. Raptors are just a more reliable team. I think Toronto takes care of business here. Indiana had a nice little run. They got Rick Carlisle's 1,000th career win. Then they beat Boston, Carlisle's former team. Both teams scored under 100 points in that one. I think the situational spot really favors Toronto. Obviously, they're not world beaters, and there's a way where the Pacers win their 4th straight. But I think the ebb and flow of things in the NBA, where you kind of have to expect the unexpected, like the Lakers last night playing their best game after playing one of their worst games. I think this is a good spot to fade the Pacers.
I'm with you on the Raptors tonight. That was one that kind of caught my eye in the NBA. Raptors -1.5 in Indiana. Take care of business. The Nets are in New Orleans tonight. So we mentioned that the Nuggets won in New Orleans. Pelicans playing the second night of a back-to-back at home with Brooklyn in town. The Nets, the 1-point road favorite. You don't see that very often. 231 flat the total.
No, and they were home favorites to the Nuggets last night.
Yeah.
So they're actually in New Orleans here.
Yep.
So the Nets, I don't know, man. They've all of a sudden become like a respectable team. It's just kind of out of nowhere. They had that run where they beat some good teams like Philly and the T-Wolves, and you got Danny Wolf lighten things up. He's the Jewish Jokic because he's so versatile. I think it's Pelicans or pass, but this New Orleans team's, I think, been a thorn in my side in a lot of ways. I don't see how Brooklyn's a road favorite here. I know guys can be out and all that, but no.
They have started to breathe life into I believe it's 19.5. I have the Nets for the win total this year, something like that. So they have started to breathe a little life back into that as they have 11 wins now here as we hit mid-January. We do have your Jazz playing tonight in Chicago against the Bulls. Bulls minus 4.5, and yeah, big total 241.5 for the Jazz and the Bulls.
Well, as the old saying goes, if you beat a team by 55, don't bet against them the next game. My Jazz certainly bounced back in a big way against the Cavs. Now they're in Chicago. No Giddey, no White. But the Bulls almost pulled the upset in Houston in their last game. Wild sort of week in the NBA. You just got to be careful with some of this stuff. I lean Utah, but the Bulls, this might be 280. I think over's the way to go.
I love it. Up, up, up and away. Tee it high and let it fly in Chicago tonight for the Jazz and the Bulls. Let's get some big numbers there. We do have some late night games. The Knicks are out west. Usually Knicks don't play very well on these West Coast trips. They did lose the first game in Phoenix. They won in Portland. Now they're in Sacramento tonight against the Kings, where they're laying 11. Of course, that's because the Kings stink. 230 flat is the total.
The Kings have all of a sudden sort of turned things around a little bit. They've actually won a couple games. I don't know. I'm not ready to think they're decent. They've won back-to-back games. They still stink. Now, I will say when DeRozan's cooking and then Levine's playing okay, and then Malik Monk off the bench with Keon Ellis, and like they're not completely laughable. And then Westbrook was making shots in the last game. I just think they hit everything the Lakers missed. I think the Kings can't hang with the Knicks. 11's a big number, but I just don't think they can.
Any interest in laying 11.5 with the Clippers tonight at the Intuit Dome against the Wizards?
I mean, I love my Wizards.
I know.
But they've been really outclassed lately. I think McCollum was the glue of this team. And I just don't know what I'm going to get with them.
Trey playing yet? Trey ever going to play?
He may not play all season. So I'm gonna need to see.
Oh, there's Henry. Henry says you're gonna be on it. I know Doug's gonna be on it at the Palmer Dome. Nope.
McCollum was the key. He was the glue. He was a bucket. And they don't have that anymore. They have a lot of young guys, a little disarray. Clippers, I got my 50-1 to win the Pacific Division. I'm rooting home. They're now back 8 back now that Phoenix lost yesterday. So I think Clippers might open up a can. Ty Lue switched his lineup a little bit, playing some of the young guys like Kobe Sanders, a lot more effort. There's been that kind of infects the team positively. Like Chris Dunn, that kind of effort. So I think the Clippers probably pull away here.
Yeah, Clippers, you would think, should be able to take care of business tonight against the Wiz. Before I leave the NBA, I will tell you, believe it or not, there's an afternoon game tomorrow. That'll, I guess, be wrapping up as we come in. And I know nobody markets like the NFL, but when the NFL plays these overseas games, I mean, I had no clue this was going on. They're playing in Berlin tomorrow afternoon. The Grizzlies and the Magic in Berlin. Magic -4, 229.5.
And this is like worse than sending, the Jaguars to London that we always do. What star power are we set? Is John Morant playing?
Is this the Wagner boys? Is that why they sent the Magic? The Wagner boys in Germany?
It is. I didn't even think of that. You're right. You hit the nail on the head. It's kind of like in college when they schedule a hometown team. It's like when Zach Edey and Purdue got to play in Toronto because he's from there. Yeah. So that's what they're doing here. Look, we've gotten some strange outcomes. Like first half teams put up like 37 points with the jet lag, and who knows, maybe the Wagner guys are doing a mini bachelor party with their high school buddies. I don't know. I can't get involved in this game. I do like the Grizzlies. I like this Orlando team. This isn't a vacuum. I mean, the Grizzlies are kind of a team I like to bet on way more than I like to fade. They are better in the favorite role than the underdog role, but this is such a strange game. I can't get involved.
And I guess they're only playing, they are playing too. So they're playing Sunday as well in London. So they're playing in Berlin tomorrow and then London on Sunday. Last year, the Pacers and the Spurs played both games in Paris in this late January swing, and both games were way over 141-10 and 136-98.
That was the Wembanyama angle,
Yes.
and whoever won the first game lost the second, I believe.
Okay, so we have that maybe to dip our toe into also. So we'll keep an eye on that for Sunday. Whoever loses tomorrow, we'll see if the other team can turn it around. Man, Berlin and London for the Magic and the Grizz here over the next couple of days. Good night of NBA ahead of us. And of course, Bet Rivers does have you set up for the NBA Wednesday primetime second chance SGP. Log into your Bet Rivers app or betrivers.com account each Wednesday to receive a second chance same game parlay token to use on either of the primetime NBA games that day. We told you that ESPN doubleheader. If your wager doesn't hit, of course, you get the token back. See the Bet Rivers app or website for full details. NBA Wednesday primetime second chance SGP. All right, we got more hoops. Let's go. College basketball now. I thought we both had a pretty good night with college last night. We had a few things I couldn't believe. Oh, that Wisconsin-Minnesota end, Doug. Minnesota ties it. The kid hits a bomb on Wisconsin to end it. That was a wild finish in that one. Of course, we had the Mountain West Game of the Year with San Jose State and Air Force too. Really fun Tuesday night. Let's get to tonight's games. Iowa.
Four starters out for the Spartans. And
Is that what it was? So it was four starters out. That's
and then
why
another guy got hurt during the game, and they still were up 11 with 1:10 to go.
And they won by 8, right? Was it 8 they won by? Yes.
It was 10.
I played.
Then they missed both free throws, three-pointer, then turnover, trying to throw an alley-oop with less than a minute to go, and then a bucket. So a 5-0 run. I mean, got to 5, and somehow I escaped.
I did the late-night bailout blowout parlay with San Jose State and USC against Maryland, which I was telling you I like. So I had a little late-night hoop action with all that. All right, Iowa into Purdue. Iowa into Purdue tonight. Purdue minus 10.5, 145.5.
So I have a feeling Purdue rolls them here. I'm not betting it. That's my lean. Iowa, look, they're a solid team, but they got drilled already at the Breslin Center. There's going to be a learning curve for this new coaching staff in the Hawkeyes, and the Big Ten's obviously a gauntlet. Purdue does play with their food a little bit, but it's more when they're like 20-point favorites. I think there's going to be a couple 6-0 runs. Iowa was terrible to start against Illinois. They showed me something, but, they really don't have a lot there, and they have a slow pace. This could be a snail, but I have a feeling Purdue wins by 13-15 here.
13-15 for Purdue tonight at home.
Maybe bet a band. You can bet a band.
Everybody loves the band bets in college basketball. We might be able to get there. Elsewhere tonight, SEC. Vandy, one of our last remaining unbeatens. It's 16-0. Visits Texas to see the Longhorns. They are 4.5-point road favorites here. Boy, it's told 166.5 in this game tonight.
No, I'm not touching Vandy after seeing what happened with Iowa State. And, yesterday, I've been preaching these situations. You can't be road favorites. And I was like, I kind of like the Cyclones. And sure enough, that's what happened. So, look, I think Miller will get things turned around in Austin. I just don't know if it's going to happen. They've been just kind of a tough team to figure out. But this is a big number on the road. They'll be rocking at Texas here. Commodores have answered a lot of challenges. But I think it's got to be Texas with Sean Miller and the company.
There you go. Texas tonight, grabbing the 4.5 at home against Vandy. Maybe Vandy falls like Iowa State did last night. Next, let's go late night. There's a lot of late night action, at least for me here on the East Coast. 10:30 East, Michigan, off their first loss of the season against Wisconsin, takes the long trip to Seattle, where they'll see the Huskies. Laying 12.5 on the road, or the Wolverines, 165.5 the total.
I think it's Wolverines in a blowout. Mm-hmm. Usually these things happen in pairs, and Michigan had the scare against Penn State and then the outright loss in their next game. I think that's the pair, and I think they bounce back here, and I think they drill Washington that just cannot shoot. So I'm going to roll with the Wolverines here. I mean, look, anything can happen. We know, we get it, but still.
I think it's Wolverines or nothing for me in that one. So I'll go with you there. Wolverines laying the lumber off of a loss on the road in Washington. Let's go Illinois Northwestern next. Illinois minus 9.5 into Chicago, 152.5 the total.
Look, it's tough game, back-to-back road games for Illinois, right? They just played Iowa. It's a big sort of bordering state rivalry. And then now this is interstate. I think Northwestern might be the worst team in the conference, probably North Maryland, but there's 3 teams right now that are 0-5, obviously inbound schedule so far. But I just don't think Northwestern can hang around this game. So I lean to the Illini, but I think the under's the right play here. Illinois had gone under 4 straight, and then the last game, because of a flurry in the final 2 minutes, it snuck over the total by like a hook. And the reason this is happening is because Illinois is all of a sudden slowing their pace up. And this could be a rock fight of a game. So I like the first half under. I like the game under. I think we're going under the total here in Evanston.
Staying in the Big Ten, we both had this game circled this morning. We both put this on the sheet pretty early. UCLA, 4.5-point favorites in Happy Valley against Penn State, 148.5 is the total. And I just always go back to it, Doug, with UCLA and Mick Cronin, like always bellyache about these long East Coast trips.
Right.
They never play well on them. And here we go. Penn State's not a great squad. I mean, they played obviously well in that one game against Michigan. They're only 9-7, but I'm feeling Penn State at home tonight.
Over time, you're going to win these more than you lose them. But this just feels like the big sucker lollipop game of the day. I don't understand this line move steaming from 3.5 to 4.5. Like you said, Cronin's been complaining about the schedule and everything. Penn State nearly took down Michigan at home. What could go wrong? You're catching 4.5 here. UCLA has to play like a flawless game to cover this. I mean, I'm not saying. I just think you have to bet Penn State, and if you lose, then bet against UCLA in their next game because they're going to Ohio State. So I think the Buckeyes in the second game. I just don't understand this, but that's why you got to understand the market. You got to see the warning signs. So I would just be very careful here.
That is why I like talking to you about these things before I just run out in the morning and go,
Seems
oh,
too
Penn
easy.
State. Look at this. This is a Penn State. Oh, come on, home. But UCLA on the road, East Coast trip. The 2 North Carolina Blue Bloods in the ACC are both making long trips to the West Coast. Front end of, I guess they'll play tonight, and then they'll flip it this weekend and play at the other place. North Carolina minus 3.5 in Palo Alto against the Tree at Stanford, 144.5 the total. This one caught my eye, Doug. I kind of like Stanford here, getting a couple of points at home. They haven't been bad this year.
Farm? Yeah, they haven't been good either, though. Like, that's the other problem. They're not good either. Obviously, the next game's Cal with Matson, and they've been pretty frisky. They're getting double digits against Duke. I think you play both dogs, and you probably go 1-1, but there's a chance at 2-0 with the points. I just think sometimes the first game is where these teams kind of play well, and then it's like they're on the road, they hang around, and they're a little flat in the next game.
Like, and look, you talk about start times for these teams going out west. Like 9:00 East isn't bad for North Carolina. Like they play that at home all the time.
Yeah, the college kids, yeah.
And 11:00 East for Duke. That's a late night on a weeknight start for them. But hey, 13.5 is a pretty sizable number for them to cover there on the road. All right, I'll give you one and someone's been alerting me to this, and I just haven't. I've been kind of tracking it, but it's the Summit League, so it's kind of hard to go full force with these things. Denver has gone over. They are 15-1 to the over this year. Denver.
What is going on?
Denver 15-1 to the over as they get ready to take on the immortal Oral Roberts tonight, and the total is 156.5. Jump on the Denver over train. 15-1 to the over this year.
They really are. I'm looking it up right now. The Pioneers. And they went under in their third game. So they've been really nuts. 15
Let's jump
straight.
On.
Or 13 straight or whatever it is. Yeah, 13 straight. That's pretty wild. hold on. Just going through things. I misspoke. I misspoke. Their last game went under.
The last one is the one that broke the streak.
Yeah, by 14.5 points. So I don't know if this is going to happen, but IU Indianapolis, that was the team that was going up and down. They're just tired and ran out of gas now because they push pace like no other, and then they have a kind of thin roster. So I'm not saying that's the case with Denver, but you got to be careful with these big numbers. The last over under was 168.5. So this one's come down, obviously different opponent. I like it. I mean, if you got a guy and your guy says that, who am I to get in front of that?
I'm going to give it a whirl tonight. I'm probably jumping on too late here. And like you said, they're coming off their first one, going under this year, but 156.5 for the Pioneers tonight against Orlando. Stanford got held to 40 versus Notre Dame. 40. They've been bad, Carver. Got to disagree there, my man. All right.
Be careful with the Cardinal. They're not good.
And actually, that is pretty bad because Notre Dame stinks this year. I love my Irish. They stink. Purdue bands, best damn band in the land. There is, guys, why is Cincy Hoops minus at 8.5 against Colorado tonight? Cincy 0-3 in conference, Buffs 2-1 in conference. Is that one that we?
Can't just look at the records.
Yeah. Smash job by Kansas yesterday. Yes, Kevin. I think me and Doug were both a little upset that we didn't jump on Kansas.
That was a rookie mistake out of me, and I've been doing this too long to take that bait.
By us. So there it is tonight. There are a couple of others. We don't unfortunately have a good Mountain West game of the night for us. But that is your night in college hoops this evening. All right.
About the
one more game I'm going to throw.
Territorial Cup, ASU at Arizona.
There you go. I was just going to say that to you. That seems like a lot in a rivalry game. 20 plus points in a rivalry game is a lot, isn't it?
Yeah, but Bobby Hurley's lost that team in many ways.
Might be looking for a job in a couple of months, Bobby. The way things are going for him at Arizona State. There you go. College hoops for this evening. Of course, if you like what you see on our show, as you should, make sure you subscribe to the Betting Weekly Studios channel on YouTube. You can check us out, Betting Weekly Live, and of course, all of our other shows, Betting Weekly Game Bet Match. Nigel Seeley and Sean Calvert as they share their best bets for the quarterfinals at both ATP Auckland and ATP Adelaide. Betting Weekly Game Bet Match on the Betting Weekly Studios YouTube channel. All right, Doug. Hockey's pretty quick tonight because there's only 4 games that we have in the NHL this evening. There is a doubleheader on TNT. Flyers and Sabres. I've played the Flyers and Sabres over the last 2 times they've played, and it's gotten there. So I'll probably do it again. It's a flat 6. Sabres and Flyers seem to, for whatever reason, they score some goals. So I probably am going to go back to that. That's the first TNT game. Vegas and LA is the second TNT game. And how about this? It's a 5.5 total. I went back and looked. First of all, the Kings have beaten Vegas 4 in a row. And the scores of these games, Doug, you wouldn't believe it. 6-5, 7-4, some bangers between Vegas and LA. All 4 of them going over. Last 4 games, all won by the Kings.
Yeah, I lost on the Golden Knights. They were down. They were up 2 or 3 and then gave up a shorthanded goal that just, I remember this game like it was early in the season. It was such a painful loss.
Yes. Well, they get back together tonight. I mean, they played high scoring games for whatever reason, the 2 of them, and it's only a 5.5. Maybe worth a shot this evening tonight. Maybe.
Don't bet under. I would not bet under.
No. I would not bet under. That's not where I'll go. But over 5.5, you can get me involved. And the other 2 games, Seattle's in Jersey against the Devils. Devils are a big favorite, minus 152 for the Devils now at the Rock against Seattle. And the Rangers at home against Ottawa. Ottawa's second night of a back. Ottawa's on the second night of a back-to-back, and they're minus 115, slight favorite in the Garden against the Rangers. If the Rangers can't win tonight, Doug, at home, when are they ever going to win at home? Honestly,
You're saying the Senators? Yeah.
Senators are minus one.
It was a strong denial. I think that whole potential locker room issue is Non-existent.
I'll take that out of the. I don't even care about that. You're talking about the two worst teams point-wise in the Eastern Conference. One of them, and the team that's a slight favorite on the road is on the second night of a back-to-back. The Rangers, I know they're 5-14 or whatever it is at home this year. They've been absolutely brutal at home. If they're ever going to win a home game, it's got to be with this team in town tonight, isn't it? I mean,
Ottawa's got a better record on the road than the Rangers do at home.
Man. You know what? Give me my overs in the TNT game, and that's enough for me. I can't with the Rangers against Ottawa at home. There you go. Reimer in net tonight for Ottawa. Hard pass. Neither like going after Reimer. That's right. Reimer in there this evening. All right. I do have, before we get to the best bets and the daily double, golf starts tomorrow, Doug. PGA Tour back, 2026 season in Hawaii. The Sony Open kicks the season off. I got 3 plays for you. We could do 3 outrights for it. I really like Hideki Matsuyama. Of course, he has won here before. Won this 3 years ago. He finishes usually finishes pretty high at this. Average finish in around the 15 to 20 area. He's not the chalk. He's not the top of the board. Russell Henley is. So 16-1 for Matsuyama. Henley is the favorite at Bet Rivers at 10. So I like Matsuyama. Nico Echevarria lost here in a playoff last year. He's 40-1. Also has very good history. Great at coastal courses. So I got him on my card. And Chris Gotterup, I think, is a little bit of a disrespectful number. The way he finished last year showed that he's one of the better players, up-and-coming players on tour. 50-1 for Gotterup, also a good coastal course player. I have got him on my card as well. So the card is a lot bigger than that, but for here on Betting Weekly Live, Matsuyama, Echevarria, and Gotterup, Doug, are 3 of my guys.
And with the time difference and everything, got some late starts, a little bailout golf matchups maybe over the weekend.
TV coverage is like, I think I saw that today, 7 to 10 East is when they're going to be on the next couple of nights. Thursday, Friday.
Later. Get that to midnight.
Get it, crank it up. And yes, I usually like to back these guys up. Some of my favorites, I'll back them up with a top 10 finish as well. Putting cash on Matsuyama 16-1. And I will tell you, at Bet Rivers, I actually played Matsuyama at Bet Rivers because they have a boost for him.
Okay.
So, and I got Matsuyama up to 20 at Bet Rivers with their boost. So Bet Rivers is giving you a boost for the golf outright. Got her up to win with Bears to win the Super Bowl. Now answer, speaking my language here. Ooh, I love. That's what I call, Doug. Put it with the golf. Put it with the golf, baby. Get yourself some big numbers. Keegan, top 10 from Petey. Everybody's in for the golf plays, Doug. They're excited for the Sony Open.
Macero should be parlaying them to Hoosiers and things like that.
He should be. That's for sure. Macero, that was good. All the stuff that he's got going on. All right, it is time. The best bets in the Daily Double here for us this evening. Matsuyama and the Pats, Steve from Lynn throwing in there. I will go with the over in the King Vegas game. I love that for whatever reason. And it's weird because these are two kind of underish teams, but when they get together, fun things happen. So I'm going over 5.5, Vegas and the Kings tonight, late night at the Crypto as my play here, over 5.5, Doug.
So there are a few games that caught my eye. I thought about the Pacers. I thought about, the Raptors, but they're shorthanded. Got some guys there. I'm going to go with Michigan. Best team in college basketball. Off a loss, off 2 bad performances. Very well coached. Washington just does not have the horses this year. I think the Wolverines should step on their throats. I think they win by 20.
So this is great for the late night crowd. No excuses that you didn't get the Daily Double in here today because both games are about 10:30 East that they're going to start. So Michigan minus 12.5 for Doug, over 5.5 in Vegas and the LA Kings for me, plus 239. The Daily Double tonight at Bet Rivers. Let's get it, baby. We've been close here the last couple nights. I want to finish this week strong, Doug, with a couple Daily Doubles, including tonight.
I need to shave, so let's get
I will try, and both these games are late night, and I want to say I'm going to try to keep the eyes awake to get through both of these games here on the East Coast. I'm going to try to finish them both out just for you, Doug. I will try to do that. Doug, great job today, as always. Great job by Chris Macero joining us earlier in the show, giving us all of his plays for the weekend. We, of course, will be back tomorrow. I got boots on the ground. Look at this. I love this guy. Going to the Sony. Used to watch GW Daily when Doug was host. Dave Farr's getting involved at the Sony Open here. I love to see that. Could you take me next time? I would love to go with you to the Sony Open.
Courtside live betting? Little inside the ropes?
I actually think it's the best, Doug. I did it at the Travelers last year up in Cromwell, Connecticut. And I went to the Travelers and I was doing the hole by hole, guys against each other, hoop, par, birdie. But it's just amazing. The being on course and live betting, the PGA. Doug, great job. Mike Carver, Doug Kezirian, Betting Weekly Live, of course. Betting Weekly Studio is part of the Bet Rivers Network. We're back tomorrow, 4 p.m. East, 1 p.m. Pacific, for all of the action. We got NBA, college hoops, hockey, etc. Keep getting you closer to the football on the weekend. Enjoy the games tonight, and we'll see you back here tomorrow on Betting Weekly Live.